Hey Soul Fam, psychickami here. Welcome everybody to another installment, I gotta find my words here, of Cosmic Conversations, where we are talking with all things of light with a variety of people from the light. Today I have a wonderful guest. His name is Ryan. I'm super excited for this conversation. So let me know that you can hear and see me okay. It's going to take me just a moment to set things up, but again, wanting to know that you can hear and see me just fine. And we'll get started in a second here. So again, my name is Kami. I'm a channel psychic and medium, and you have found me here at my Facebook page. If you will hold with me for just a second, I'm going to set a few things up, stream to a couple of places, and then we'll get started. So again, let me know that you can hear and see me okay. Give me a mic check. Anybody, microphone check. And we will get started in just a second here. Okay. I can see myself. So I know my video is working. Hi Heidi. Oh, good to have you here. Heidi, I think that you in particular are probably going to enjoy this chit chat. This is going to be an excellent, an excellent conversation. Of course, Facebook has changed things up on me. Of course. But we're gonna make it work. We always make it work, right? Let's see. Okay, I think we're just about ready here, y'all. Let me share it to a couple of places. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful day. It has been cold and rainy here for the last couple of days. Interestingly enough, it was pretty warm and it went from like 89 degrees to 42. Hi, currently nice to have you here. Thanks for letting me know that you can hear and see me okay too. One more little thing, and then I think we're ready to go. Happy Sunday, Carlene. Again, good to have you here too. Awesome. Okay. Are we ready? Are we ready? Are we ready? I think so. Here we go. My name is Kami Carranza. Welcome. I am a channel psychic and medium, and you have found me here at my Facebook page. Right around this time at 4 o'clock, we do something amazing called Cosmic Conversations, where we are bringing on live with us, with me, other folks in the light community. It has been my sincerest want to share the light as much as I possibly can with as many of you in as many different modalities as possible. And so, hi, Vicki. And so here we are today with the lovely Mr. Ryan Rogers, and I'm going to bring him on now and we'll get started. Ryan is an energy healer and Reiki master. And like I said, we've got an excellent conversation planned for all of you. Terrific. All right. Get your, aha, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear and see you just fine. So I was just telling everybody how amazing you are and how excited I am for this conversation and how valuable I think this is going to be for everybody. It's, energy. I know you wanted to talk about that, is one of the most frequently asked questions that I have. And what's unique about me is that I kind of came late into my gifts. And so I'm learning about energy, which is such a great thing for you to be here and teach today. So welcome. Super nice to have you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, thank you for having me. So, yeah, my name is Ryan Rogers. I'm an energy healer,
Mm,
Reiki master teacher. I guess I've been doing it officially for almost 2 years now, but
mm,
kind of been that just spiritual, oddball, poetic artist my whole life. So, the last 2 years just kind of made sense of the first 33 years of my life, I
So
guess.
did you have like, so for me, so I love this. Thanks for sharing. For me, I had like a moment, like a moment where I woke up some people like have this like lifetime of awakening, and some people are just awake. Like, how did you come into awareness and awakeness for yourself?
Yeah, so it was I guess it was kind of, off and on. I would always have these periods where I couldn't explain it or, didn't know why exactly, but I would just be really drawn to certain parts of history and like the thought of consciousness and energy. And then I would kind of like put it off to the side and I would get back into, the regular everyday flow of work and doing things. And then I would just always, no matter what I did after a
Mm.
couple years, would just kind of start to get bored with it, or once I learned it, I guess, and get back into this weird phase. And then I guess it really just happened. So fall of 2020, yeah, 2021, um, we went on a vacation to Hawaii, and something on that island, I didn't even know what Reiki was. I'd heard the word and I thought it was like a
Oh,
massage type technique.
oh
And we
yeah.
came back, I told the wife, I was like, I want to look into Reiki and see what this is. And I went and found a couple practitioners near me and had a couple sessions done. And through that, it literally, you could call it like a kundalini awakening or whatever, but my head literally like physically popped. And since then I've had this physical buzzing in my head, and it was just like it made sense of everything, wrapped 33 years into this is what you were meant to do right here.
So a couple of interesting things that you've said, and then I really want to ask you a question because I had what maybe a Kundalini awakening, and I don't think a lot of people understand it. But the first thing I want to say to you is like Hawaii seems to be this interesting like energetic spot for a lot of people. I've noticed like a lot of healers and like visionaries and people like that are very called to Hawaii, which is super interesting because I'm terrified to go there. Must be past. I'm terrified. I won't go. And then the other thing you said, I was taking some notes. You said Kundalini awakening. And when I first had my like momentary awakening where I was like, boom, okay, I'm awake now. Wow, what would happen? After that, I began to have other awakenings, and I think I had a Kundalini awakening too, but I don't know that I still understand what that means. Do you?
So I kind of take it as, like the literal um Hindu kind of texts like say just that sacred energy, like our pineal gland literally produces
Mm,
a fluid, the sacred,
yes.
fluid, the colostrum, and it travels up and down our spine, but through conditioning and programming and
Mm,
thoughts of others and all this, it's really, all the foods we eat, it's really dulled.
yes.
And I don't necessarily know that I believe like the pineal gland calcifies, but it does go dormant, as far as it is a gland that vibrates, and when it stops vibrating, you're kind of just going through the motions of life, and the actual
Mm.
reigniting, the vibrating of that pineal gland, I think, is when the awakening starts to happen.
So that's really amazing. So for the folks that are watching, that don't know, we do have a little gland, just like we have glands all over, a thyroid gland, we have adrenal glands. We have a little gland that sits in, I think it's right in the core of our brain, right? If I remember correctly. I think.
Yes, it's what they call the third eye or
Yes.
whatever. Yeah,
And
right
it
in the
looks like a
center.
pine cone, right? It's been a minute since I've thought about it. And the other
Yeah.
thing that I know about the pineal gland is the hormones that it secretes are also responsible for our dreams. And I happen to believe that our dreams are just us doing other things in other lives.
Yes, yes. That
So it's so interesting that you know the third eye is definitely the gateway, I think, to a lot of other places. And as you said, through diet, just lifestyle,
Yeah.
just like your thyroid. So I have to take a thyroid hormone every day. My thyroid doesn't function properly through lifestyle,
Yeah.
I'm sure, and genetics. Same with the pineal gland. I think that over time, again, I don't know about calcifying, but for sure over time, I think it shrinks, it dies, it does, it just stops working. So, in that vein,
Yeah.
though, you said something too interesting about, how it trickles down sort of through your spine and feeds your body. And a lot of people, when they talk about having a Kundalini awakening, they talk about it being in the Shoshana column, in the spine. And so I didn't realize that the pineal gland, dripped down into the spine. So that makes a heck of a lot of sense now out of my
Yeah.
life. Thank you.
I honestly think that's the esoteric, the metaphysical. Everybody knows about the tree of life. And I honestly think the
Um,
tree of life is the internal representation of our spine and the nerve endings that, as above, so below, as within, so without. Like if you look at the spinal column and the nerve endings and everything, it is like a
yeah.
tree root. And
Yes, you're so right about that. That's fantastic. You also said something earlier, and I want to just kind of like tie this in for you too. Like you said something about consciousness, and about an hour before it was our time to come talk, I laid down and had sort of all I can describe this as a lucid dream. I was very aware, but it was interesting. And I kept hearing a word over and over and over again, which was consciousness. And
yeah.
yeah.
So
And
I was gonna say, so I kind of think of consciousness as,
yeah.
the best metaphor I give for it is like a radio wave. I think consciousness is the pool that we're all swimming in, right? It's like you have a TV screen, and if the TV breaks, the signal doesn't go away. You just have lost the device, but the signal is still there. And so consciousness is just this free flowing, you know, whatever you want to call it, ethereal material that we're swimming in. And, you tap into it at different times. It's kind of
Yes.
like the awakening. And so, yeah.
Yes, thank you for explaining that. Yes, I happen to think that part of my gifts, like part of the information I access, is from consciousness.
Yes.
Yes, and so interestingly enough too, I have since I was a child said to people since I was probably 9 or 10, I was told by a voice that I have an antenna. And so it's so interesting that you said that because that's literally how I picture it works. And I think that we all have antennas, but I think that we get away from or get out of touch with or don't believe that we have it because we're
Yeah.
conditioned. And so I just love the way that this conversation's heading. What do you do using that metaphor?
Yeah.
Because I love
Yeah.
it. What do you do to like I guess to strengthen your antenna? Because I think it's very fragile. Does that make sense?
Yes. So, one thing I like to do is I like to visualize, everybody has their own representation or their thought of what God is. And so I visualize source as God as the collective consciousness. It is the every thought, experience, past life, anything that has ever been experienced by the universe is in the collective consciousness. And we just break ourselves off into individual pieces to see what it's like to be Ryan Rogers, to see what it's like to be psychickami or John or Joe. And by going into meditation and visualizing it like that, going back up into,
Mm.
that's what I like to think of as the Akashic records, really, is that everybody has that ability to go right back to source. And, some of us choose to do this as a
Mm.
business, as a practice, service to others, but everybody has this ability and they just get in their own way.
100%. Everybody has the ability and they get, I love that. And they get in their own way. I totally agree with you. And so it's interesting that you talked about sort of coming down from consciousness. I love your perspective. The way that I think about consciousness is I think that we're all threads in a fabric.
Yes,
And
yes.
we like
Same thing.
weave in and out, and sometimes our thread rides on top and sometimes it rides here or there, but we're all part of the same fabric. That's how I think of it, but I love the way you think
Yeah,
of it
yeah, that's the
too.
same kind of concept. So I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so I love that too. So you like to meditate to tap in, and I love that. And I think towards the end of our time here, we're going to do a guided meditation together for everybody, which is fantastic. Are there other ways? So that's how you access. For
So yeah,
me,
and so
yeah.
I was just gonna say, and so yeah, I use, many different tools. And one thing I'd like to say to people is with spiritual practice, with connecting with consciousness, our higher self, with source, you gotta put your analytical brain aside, because these practices, these rituals, they don't seem to make sense offhand. Like, it doesn't seem to make sense that a crystal would help tap into that vibration, or burning some incense. But that's the whole point of spiritual practices. It's to get you outside of that thinking analytical brain, to realize, there's way more going on than we know about. And these other
Mm.
tangible physical things they grew with the earth. They've been here for thousands, millions, billions of years, and they've held that frequency and vibration of every experience that's been had.
You know what else I love too? I like to remember that we are animals in the garden, just like everyone else, just like the
Yeah.
crystal, just like the deer. We are an animal in the garden also. And that helps me to really be into conscious, conscious collective consciousness is just
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I love that. So this is a great conversation because when I first woke up, like I said, I didn't, as we started sort of off camera, I think I didn't like, I wasn't like, I was working in a legal department. I was writing legal letters all day. And then one moment it was like that for me, literally, and I could never go back. And so I've been doing this now for over 8 years. And I'm developing practices as I go, and I'm
Yeah.
still very much in that. And so meditation's been great for me too. But what I'm curious about is what do you do every day? So for me, I have to keep myself at a certain level. So I literally just told someone today they wanted to talk about a current event, and I said, I don't even know what's going on in the world right
Yeah. I'm with you. And
and I actually had to
I,
shut the conversation down. It was a dear friend, so it wasn't anything negative at all. But I had to shut the conversation down because I have to be very like protective of myself. That I don't have a lot of like spiritual routines developed other than protection. Can you share maybe some of the ways that you work to like keep yourself in a great, vibe or wherever you
yeah.
need to
So,
be?
just like you, it is, I learn stuff new every day, and even the same practices I've done for a year, I still, find more within it each and every day. So yes, I do believe it's an ongoing process. But
Mhm.
so like you, I wear crystals daily. I burn Palo Santo constantly
Mhm.
to remove energies from me. And also, we're conditioned to believe that, we always want to be the nice person. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But at the same time, those type of, I used to be the same way, watch the news, and then I would wonder why I was going to bed with all this
Oh,
anxiety, depression, and this just weird,
yes.
icky feeling. And I
Yes.
didn't know. And now I physically remove myself from those situations, or I'll try and steer the topic into something else in a polite way. It's like, I don't want to rudely shut somebody down, but at the same time, I just do not try and entertain things that don't align with the way that I'm feeling at the time. And I think a
Mm.
lot of people, that's one thing a lot of people really need work on, is just accepting who you are, owning your power, and
Mm.
setting boundaries and protecting your physical space,
100%. It's so here I go so okay. So I'm telling you like I don't do anything other than protect. But I guess I could alter that because now that you've talked and I'm thinking about it, one of the I guess spiritual practices that I have is I have curated a very specific vibe in my home
Yeah.
through
Yes.
not watching the TV, through having crystals and through having, sacred plants and through having, animals and and what's really interesting, I don't know about you, but when I leave my home and I come back, if I'm gone for a day or so, I can feel like this like exhale when I
Yeah.
come in here because I don't let things in my home or people.
Yes. We pick it up and we collect it. I mean, just like lint on your shirt, and a
Yeah.
lot of people aren't aware of it, but just passing by somebody in the grocery store that's
Yes.
seemingly having a bad day or in an argument with their significant other, that radiates and projects out onto us and those who are,
Yes.
very empathetic. You soak that up like a sponge. So,
Let alone any more like intimate interactions that you may have, even just this conversation, than a
yes.
passerby. But I think people don't recognize the power of intimacy and connection and what it does and how it alters and what you take and give from each other. What a great thought. So a different question for you then, going back to the antenna.
Yeah.
So I have a very sort of elementary grasp of what Reiki is. My understanding is so I through my antenna I receive divine wisdom. What do you receive through your antenna?
So, yeah, Reiki, I mean, yeah, I guess to kind of briefly explain it, it's
Yes.
an Eastern energy healing practice, a Japanese to be specific.
Mm.
It's been around for millennia, but it was kind of rediscovered by Sensei Yusui in the 1920s. He went and meditated on, oh, I'm forgetting it now. I think it was like Mount Kuriyama or something. And he was in meditation for days, and through it was 3 or 4 days, and he received the hand symbols and everything. So it's
Oh.
basically, I and any Reiki practitioner, like, I don't actually do anything as far as the energy is not coming from me. It is just opening myself up as an antenna, as a receiver,
Mm.
for source energy to flow through me and to the recipient. So I like to, I'm always trying to break things down and metaphor them simply for people. So I like to think of it as source energy is, it's this generator. It's constantly producing this loving, healing, light energy all the time.
Mm.
And I just, like your phone dies and you have to plug it in and charge it. I become the charging cord and the
Oh,
recipient becomes the phone. So I
I
just
love
make the
that.
connection from them to their higher self and let
Yeah.
the energy flow where it needs to go.
I love that. Thank you for that explanation. That makes sense for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you ever so now I have some questions about it. So once so okay, let me back myself up. So now I have a lot of questions. When
Yeah.
you are um um receiving energy and sharing it, correct me if I'm wrong in my wording,
Yeah, yeah, no, that's good.
with other people, what does it feel like for you? What do you as Ryan feel?
So I literally feel everything from um high heat, like I'll almost get in like a hot flash, but it's more bearable. It's not like an unbearable hot flash, but my body temperature will literally rise. um my hands will heat up significantly, and then I become ultra sensitive. Like, I can feel, depending on exactly how much energy is needed where, I'll feel physical feelings like a pinprick in the bottom of my hand to almost tingling, like it'll feel like your hands kind of going to sleep or numb. And then when it's like really like intuition is really guiding me, like this is you're on top of it, my head will literally it's like it's so hard to explain it. It feels like a buzzing, like my brain almost gets like a fur coat on it or something and
Mm.
literally pulses like. So yeah, it kind of goes at different levels, but literally feel physical symptoms and feelings. And every now and then I'll have visions or a thought that pops in that'll guide me to an area. But for the most part, it's very physical feeling for me.
It's amazing. So I'm, I'm thinking about like that, and then I'm thinking about how I interpret spirit too. And so, everybody is so different. I always tell people that, when they come for their very first reading, everybody is so different, every, practitioner. And the
Yes.
way that I interpret spirit, I don't get warm. I get this overwhelming feeling of unconditional love to the point where it will bring me to tears. And
Yes.
that's, yes, and so that's how me Kami experiences spirit. And then I have and then you have, your medical, and you can feel, and like you get visions, and then I have visions as I'm being held in like this. Kami is being held in love, and then I'm
Yeah.
also having this. So it's such a interesting thing. And the other thing I notice about me is I feel like, this is so funny, when you relax your gaze and you let your eyes kind of cross a little bit, I don't know if that literally happens to me, but I have that sensation when I'm channeling, I get really like, this doesn't exist for me behind me. It just kind of fades away. So what
Yeah,
an
that's
interesting,
funny
yeah.
you say that because as I'm doing and moving over, that's the same type of gaze. Like it's almost, yeah, like you said, a cross-eyed, or when you're trying to look at those pictures that's just all
Yeah.
shapes and something pops up.
Yes.
It's like you're staring at it, but you're looking through it. And then that's when, like, yes, I'll become ultra sensitive and can feel the sensations.
Sometimes I feel so this is, I don't know, forgive the wording, but sometimes I feel like drunken almost, where you just get like super like relaxed, and I don't know, I almost like I can't, my ego steps aside and just becomes, as we've talked about, the antenna that's receiving the message. You just receive it differently, and I love it. Thank
Yeah, yeah, that's one thing I always
you.
start every session with, is actually in my little, meditation to get ready, is saying those, like that physical phrase of allow my ego to step aside and allow me to just be a passive observer in this experience. Because playing around with it, when I first got started being a analytical guy, I would mess around with sessions on the family, and I would be trying to figure out what's going on and why am I feeling that and this and
Mhm.
that. It would almost seem to dull the senses. And then when I learned to just don't question it, just be the connection, then it flows. And it's like,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes, I love that. I call that, so I love what you said, that I call that for myself, Kami, not the, the messenger. I call that being a sacred witness, because I get
yeah.
to see like spirit, and I get to see people's hearts, and I get to see it all kind of connect. And it's such a beautiful, I got to say, like, from this perspective, being someone that's, sharing the energy and light and gift, like it's such a beautiful thing for me too. I don't know about you, but
Oh yeah, it's been
in love with it.
super healing, as far as, yes, me removing my programming and conditioning. I was brought up
Mm,
very heavily LDS, and
I didn't know.
nothing nothing against the organized religion, but I believe a lot of it is kind of fear based. It pushes down these gifts and these feelings to let people think or feel that that person up there has it rather than you, and you're
Yes.
always taught to question yours and where's your intuition coming from? Is it really source, or is it the devil?
Yes.
And it's all this yeah, big fear programming. So
I don't tell people this very much. So when I was 20, between 19 and 22, I lived abroad. I lived in Europe. When I came back here, my dad had converted to Seventh-day Adventist.
mhm,
And you know, I had no problem with it. I don't care. I didn't care. I was Christian at that time, right? So
right,
whatever, people. And we were talking. My dad and I used to be very, very close. And he's a spiritual philosopher, even though he's got his own thing.
right,
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
but what was interesting about this is, you know, my dad was Native American, and he always encouraged my dreaming and any deja vus I had or anything like that. He was always very encouraging of that. And when I came home and had a conversation with about him about it, his viewpoints had changed. And I remember him telling me, because I had dreams at that time, I've always been a dreamer, because I had dreams at that time that I was going to go to hell. And I remember having this deep, deep sadness because as a child, I was spiritually gifted and I shoved it down for society. And I remember having this deep sadness and thinking to myself, God wouldn't have made me in his image, that whole thing, if I was something evil.
yes, yeah, no, and I
A
think that
no-no for
was
me.
that kind of let how I said, like, it kind of came in waves for me until the last few years. That would be it. I would start to have a very big spiritual awakening, insights and thoughts, and just channeled downloads like crazy. And I would be sharing them with my church peers, and the first thing out of their mouth, rather than like, whoa, that's cool, what's going on, would be like, well, you better
Yeah.
beware where this message is coming from. And
Yeah.
then it would
Yeah.
kind of die down again. And so
Yeah.
one tip I like to tell anybody who's in that boat, like I said, nothing against organized religion, but to just do it and experience all these things for yourself, whether it's yoga or crystals or meditation, energy, just like I like to think of Jesus and Satan, it's two sides of the same whole is all it is. It's just a spectrum of light and how we feed it. And the only reason that's dark is because there's a fear and unknowing. But once you do it for yourself, you see that a lot of these things were pushed aside. And then, hey, guess what? If you do it and you don't feel comfortable and it doesn't call to you,
Not for
great,
you.
trash it, move on to something else. But then you experience for yourself and not through somebody else's eyes.
Once you get that taste of unconditional love from spirit, just, I mean, there was never a question for me after that.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never experienced anything earthly like that in my life.
No, that's exactly the same thing. Like that fear, the unknowing, it's this, most people telling you not to do it, by the way, have never experienced it for themselves either. They're passing along information. So, one of my favorite kind of philosopher talkers of the 60s was Terence McKenna, and he had this
Yes.
say, dive into the abyss, and then you'll see on the other side of the abyss is a comfortable mattress. It's nothing to be scared of.
Can we talk about Terrence McKenna for a minute? We can't talk about how he accessed, Facebook has
Yeah, yeah.
policies against talking about that. But Terrence McKenna, I have listened to hundreds,
Yes, yeah.
hundreds of hours of Terrence McKenna. First of all, for people who don't know, I would describe Terrence McKenna as a psychonaut and a great philosopher.
Yes, yeah, yeah, I believe so too. And I
Yes. And
think
if
the oh yeah, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say if people don't know who Terrence McKenna is, again, what a gift it is that we have recordings of him. What a gift of him, Dolores Keane, and some other people. But if people don't know who Terrence McKenna is, they really need to go find him and have an open mind when listening. Okay, your turn.
Yeah, yeah, and I was just gonna say, like, I think, yeah, a very gifted visionary ahead of his time.
Mm,
I think we're literally living in the times that he talked about. I mean, it was in the 90s when he was talking about what the future was going to be like from
yes.
AI to social politics to everything. And he talked about everything was going to get, as we hit the crescendo of the mass awakening, that everything was going to get weirder and weirder and weirder until finally it got so weird that people couldn't help but talk about it. And I think that's where we're at in today's life.
I agree. Terrence McKenna, I want to, geez. He was really fundamental in my like personal awakening, my personal one.
Yes.
And I want to go like tie in something that you said earlier too. He wasn't afraid to, peek on the other side of the veil. He wasn't afraid to go stand on the other side of the veil. And what a richness he experienced. And we've all experienced through him because of it.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. No, I agree. I like to, again, one of my dorky little metaphors, like when you experience these things, I like to think of everybody kind of starts with this, their their thoughts and their perspective on the world and what's going on as a giant warehouse. And we're wandering around that warehouse with a match. And what happens when you only have a match? You can only see 2 feet in front of you. But once you start to experience these things for yourself, it's like walking over to the wall and flipping on the light switch. And then you see, oh, everything's in the same warehouse. Now I can see it. There's no block, there's no distortion. I can see it for what it is. It makes the creepy, the dark, the shadow work illuminated. And it's like, oh, why was I ever afraid of that? Like,
Yes, exactly. And so, I think we both probably could resoundingly encourage people to not be afraid to at least look beyond the veil. Really.
yeah.
Dip your toe in. It's all good.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
For sure. Oh, I didn't know you were a Terrence McKenna fan. I love that. How did you find him? How did you come across
Um,
him?
yeah, I was introduced to him back in college by one of my buddies, kind of like you said, just doing those things that
Yeah.
college kids do. And, I got turned on to him, and then from him found Alan Watts, and they
Yeah.
just, like you said, like hundreds of hours, just even the same talks would just listen to over and over, because you just pull and you grasp more out of it each time. Like sometimes
Yes.
it's over your head and you're like, what the heck is this guy talking about? And then 3 months, 6 months later, you've had
Yes.
an experience and you're
Yes.
like, that's what he was talking about.
100%. And that is exactly that has happened to me. Listening to Terrence McKenna years ago, having my own experiences, I then understood what he
Yeah.
was saying, and just can't encourage it enough. So Terrence McKenna, I think I came to Terrence McKenna by way of Chiron. Have you heard
Oh,
of
very
Chiron?
cool. I was gonna say a little bit. My wife's a little bit more into the
Chiron?
astrology side of things, and she's always, yeah, trying to read me my Lilith and my Chiron and all
Oh,
of
wait a
these
minute.
things
Maybe I
that
said it
I'm.
wrong. Is it Chiron? Not Chiron, the astrology.
Oh, okay, okay.
Did I say it wrong? It's Lee Harrit. Lee Harrit? No, Lee. Oh my gosh, I've said it wrong. Anyways, he's a channel and
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I
correct
haven't
me.
heard of him yet.
Is it not Chiron?
You could be correct. Like I said, I may not have. Um, I've just been, yeah, this last, I would say, year and a half, been following a few more channelers and stuff, people who channel, yeah,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
ascended masters or spiritual beings
Yes.
continuously. So, no, I'll
Yes.
definitely
And
have to
so
look that up.
Chiron, yes, Chiron, the wounded healer astrology. Chiron, Kyron, Lee Carroll, who is still living, thankfully. So Chiron is an ascended master. And so I began after I had that spark of being awakened, I began getting really curious about channels, of course, because I think we get curious about the things that we're supposed to do
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
world. Yeah, just like you with Reiki, and just like, I need more. And I was watching something called I don't think it's called Opening a Channel, it's a book, but it's something like that. And they had 4 or 5 different channels, including Wendy Kennedy, who's fantastic. She channels the Pleiades. But Lee Carroll was on, and I just could not stop watching him. And so I began watching him on YouTube, hours and hours listening to these channels from Chiron, which led me to Terence McKenna, which led me to Alan Watts, who I just think is amazing, which led me to Carl Jung, which is not talked about enough.
Yeah, Carl Jung, yes, one of my favorites. Yes.
Yes.
Kind
So,
of, well, all of them together, right? He kind of helped put together, I guess listening to Carl Jung really is what
mm,
nudged me over the edge to accept me for who I am, that I have, because it's not unknown that a lot of these practices, Reiki and crystals and stuff, they're more of the feminine energy, and there's not a lot of men out there doing them. So,
mm,
as I would get curious about this, it was like, man, what are people going to think? And then, listening to Carl Jung talking about, you know, that's in the anima and the animus in both of us, right? And the blending of the two is what makes us.
yes. And we should be persistently, I think, in pursuit, persistently in pursuit of balance between feminine and masculine. It's all there. It's all accessible, and I think we're conditioned through our homes and work and stuff like that to be in one more or the other, or we're told that we have to pick one. But the reality is both of that's inside of us. And I love that idea too. Carl Jung, interestingly enough, I'm just sort of thinking about this too. There was a famous singer who was really into Carl Jung. His name was Avicii. Have you heard of him?
No, I haven't.
Oh man, Avicii. He died a couple of years ago, but he had there's a documentary, and they documented he had like this awakening through Carl Jung and the reading
Yeah,
through
very
Carl Jung,
cool.
and people need to start there too. So,
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you said, I think part of that is like just the way society is in America in general. It
oh yeah.
loves to swing on the extremes of everything. Our culture
Mhm.
forever was masculine dominated, and now it's trying to swing to the extreme by feminism and like pushing this women get out and do that. And I'm all for women being themselves, but to push them that direction is just the same thing that the men
I
did,
was
right?
gonna say, it's so funny about that. So, that's my button right there. You just pushed it. Not in a bad way.
Yeah, yeah.
I am very, very interested in the transition of the woman over the last 60 years, and how we were encouraged to almost in a way leave our femininity by going into the workforce, by if a man can do it, we can do it,
Yeah.
by going into the military, by all of those things that we were it was such an interesting time because that's when Alan Watts was on the scene too. And so it was
Yeah.
just such an interesting time, and how even though, like, I think the feminist whatever feminism movement
Yeah, yeah.
was really about masculating women.
Yeah, no, I think so too. Like I said, I'm a huge believer in, yes, equality, and women
Oh
can do
yeah.
anything that men can do, but is that the way it's designed to do? Just because you can, is that the way it's supposed to go? There's nurturing things about a woman that is good to, be around children and to be uplifting a man, because then that awakens his gifts into becoming more sensitive and aware of his presence around him. So, like you said, it's a
And
balance of,
the opposite is true though, but men have such an important role too. And one of the things that I like to tell people who, I don't can't get into like with a movement that's going on around men right now, but if it weren't for men, how would we have skyscrapers? Who would build our
yeah.
homes? Who would go and do
I
these
even
things?
I look at some of those things like that's one thought I always have when I drive down the highways and I look at the massive power poles that are running thousands of miles across the country in the worst terrain you've ever seen. Like, I am thankful that we have that, but
Yes.
I'm so glad that I was not one of those dudes, because
No.
that was a level of human being that we just can't even comprehend today. Like, they had to push everything aside in order to get that done. But now I think we're in a time where the infrastructure is kind of laid where we can kind of sit back more and come
Yes.
back into our true selves.
Yes. And so interesting too, just in the last couple of weeks, literally weeks, I began working with more men. Men have been coming to visit with me. And it is a beautiful thing to see these men want to know about energy, what it is, how it
Yeah.
works, how they can work with a partner with energy. I've been having more conversations about like tantra with people and just trying to explain,
Yeah.
and I love that I'm seeing men, and this is why I was so excited when you reached out and said you wanted to come chat because you're under I can't think of the right word, but there's not enough of you in this field. But I can tell
Right.
you too, I'm seeing men begin to soften, and I love it.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. It's been I love challenges. So that's been one of the hurdles, right? Getting into it as far as practicing on people, usually people go have a massage done, specifically women, and they're, a man there, it kind of makes them a little uneasy. But I love to when they finally experience it and they give the chance to break down those barriers and see like,
Yes.
oh wow, maybe there are super masculine guys out there, but there is this breaking down of the fabric, the softening, like you said, to see like that was just as great as a female doing
Yeah, and
it.
I think men can give their own energy too. So, I think so go take just step back a couple of steps too about the difference between what women and men offer, even energetically, in healing sense too. I think men can offer things that women can't. I think men can offer energy that is safe
Yeah,
and can help people to feel safe in the world through Reiki and other things like that, because that is just your natural innate energy. And so,
yeah,
I think, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's funny you say that because that's actually like one of the exact things. I have this kind of little specific few things that I say before every session, and one of them is like help me create a safe place for healing to take place, because
Oh,
that's what
yeah.
it's about, creating a safe environment for those
Mm.
energies to come to the surface, to not feel suppressed, and for people to be thinking the whole time and not opening their minds up to a great experience.
Oh, totally. And if people can just relax and feel safe in each other's energy, I think such amazing things can transpire from that kind of thing. So I know we had talked earlier about maybe doing a guided meditation. Do you feel like you're in a place where you'd like to do that?
Yeah, yeah, we could totally do that.
Fantastic. Just
That
let
would
me
be,
know. I'm gonna turn the mic over to you.
yeah, no, that's awesome. So yeah, I will go ahead and burn a little Palo
Okay.
Santo just to help bring some balance and harmony into the space. So yeah, just a little geeky side note for those who don't know, Palo Santo has been used for thousands of years by uh ancient cultures and tribes to do that, to bring balance and harmony, a peaceful energy into the space. So it's one of my favorites to burn. And for those who have trouble with incense and stuff, Palo Santo is actually very gentle and
Mhm.
used for people like with asthma and stuff. So it's a very
Yeah,
safe wood to burn and to breathe.
one of my
So
favorites.
yeah, we'll go ahead and start that. And yeah, so anybody who is willing to join,
Mhm.
you can sit where you are, you can lie down, go ahead and get comfortable. If you can sit cross-legged, that's very great. Don't have to be stiff or uptight, but don't slouch over, just a nice, comfortable, relaxed position. Place your hands on your knees or by your side, palms up for receiving energy. close your eyes and begin to bring your awareness to your present space. Focus your gaze up to your third eye, staring at your eyebrows with your eyes closed. Find a nice rhythm between your breaths. Breathing 3 to 4 seconds through your nose, 3 to 4 seconds out your nose. Really start to become aware of the present space around you. Start to notice how your clothes feel as they drape across your body. Notice how your breath feels as it flows across your lips. In this meditation, we will work on moving stuck energy out of the body. So as you bring your awareness to your space, really notice where you have any sort of discomfort, of unease, of physical pain, a feeling, a sensation. Really draw your awareness to that space. Is it in your lower chakras? Is it in your root chakra, which is represented by the color red? Is it in your sacral chakra, just above the navel area, which is represented by the color orange? Is it in your solar plexus area between your heart and your belly button, which is represented by the color yellow? Is it in your heart space, the center of your body, which is represented by the color green? Is it more upper? Is it in your throat, your neck area, your throat chakra, which is represented by the color blue? Is it more in the middle of your head, your third eye area, which is represented by the color indigo? Or is it a thought? Is it at the top of your head? Is it at the crown, which is represented by the color violet? Really focus on where that dis-ease or that uncomfortable feeling or that thought or those words you haven't spoken. Really draw your awareness to that space. Try to visualize any colors that you're seeing with it. Will help you identify what needs moved. As you're focusing on that space, does it have any shape? Do you see any shape with it? Do you see a ball, a square, a triangle? Is it like a prickly ball with spikes all over it? Is it a heavy cinder block? Notice any shape that's associated with it. And as you continue to focus on this area, what is the consistency of it? Is it smooth? Is it rough? Is it sticky? Does it feel heavy? Focus on that space, on that shape, on what it looks like. And here in just a few moments, I want you to visualize yourself removing that energy, physically pulling it out of that space. Visualize yourself removing that shape, pulling it out and placing it in front of you. We're going to build a statue, a stuck energy statue right in front of us. Pull it out. What does it feel like? Is it easy to remove? Is there a lot of it there? Do you have to continuously keep pulling and pulling to remove the discomfort? Does it come out nice and easy? And build this statue in front of you. Keep building this statue, whatever it looks like. If it's a giant stuck energy cinder block or a big stuck energy ball, the appearance of it. Is it a hard statue? Is the consistency runny? Is it slimy? Is it hard to build the statue? Continue to remove that energy and build that statue in front of you. As you do this, continue to focus your attention inward on your present space and how it feels to be removing that energy. Do you feel lighter? Do you feel your mood uplifting? Do you feel a sense of unconditional love pouring over you for showing yourself some self-care and some love, for bringing your attention to your space, to your body, bringing awareness to what your body has been trying to tell you? How does that make you feel? And here in a few moments, we're going to destroy this statue. But first, visualize whatever tool you would like to use. If you would like to use a hammer, a sledgehammer, a flamethrower, whatever you would like to use, a jackhammer, choose your tool and begin to smash this statue. Destroy this stuck energy statue and watch it crumble to pieces. Watch it go up in flames. Watch it run into a pool on the ground. destroy every bit of this statue and notice the lightness, the energetic uplift, the weightless feeling that comes along with removing this energy. As we come to an end, continue to focus on your breathing. And I want to thank you for joining me in this moment of self-care, in this moment of energy release. And know that you can do this at any time of the day that you feel a stress or a weight or anxiety or words that should have been spoken or a compulsive thought that won't leave. You have the ability to remove that energy from your physical being and destroy it and carry it no longer. Always removing the weight that no longer serves you. Thank you for joining me in this meditation. I'm honored to hold this space with you. And the love and light within me honors the love and light within you. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you. That was really powerful for me. I'm sure
Thank
it was for others. Thank you very much for sharing that. I got to come back to my present for a moment.
you.
Do people normally share with you like what they
Um,
experienced?
So yeah, I have it. I've had it both ways. I've had
Mm,
people, and I leave the floor open for any of that. Some people are, real reserved and try and process what
mm,
just happened, and others are an open book and love to share what they seen, what
mm.
colors, and
Oh,
what
yeah.
they experienced.
Well, can I share just a little? Because that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
very different. So thank you. So interestingly enough, um, I went to my heart chakra, which is how I do a lot of my work. And I found stone around it, which is not typical for me at all. And so this was so interesting because as you were talking about, removing what it is that you found, as I would remove a chunk of it to make a statue in front of me, I saw like this beautiful, soft, tender heart chakra, and I was afraid to take too much of the stone off of it. Isn't that interesting?
That is super beautiful. I love that visualization. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. And so in that, I recognize like the tenderness that I've got going here in my heart space. And while I don't need to put up a stone around it, I can be more careful with who I let access it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. That's one thing I like to let people know. There's millions of different
Mm.
meditations out there from, past life
Mhm.
experience to manifesting to guided to whatever. So yeah, don't just because one way didn't work for you, another one of my favorites honestly is silent meditation. Just sitting with no music, no nothing, and listening to what my thoughts, what my body is trying to say, those aches and pains, those feelings of discomfort. It's something trying to tell us something, and we go through our lives so fast that we just throw some Advil or something on top of it and not realizing it's just an energy that once released and it won't manifest physically.
It's so well also after at the end of it when I had destroyed my statue, which looked a lot like the Jesus statue in Brazil, by the way. I had an itch right over my heart, which was interesting.
Yeah,
So I feel like, oh man, I think I had like a physical little want to let go too. So what a powerful thing that was. So thank you so much for coming live with me today. What a delight and an amazing gift you are to the world. Tell us how we can find you.
yeah, thank you again for having me. So, yeah, my Facebook is the main page is at Ryan Rogers, and the business page attached to that is Blissful Awakening, Healing and Recovery. And probably I'm a little more active maybe on Instagram, which my Instagram handle is at I am underscore energy. Um,
Wow,
so yeah, but
that's cool.
usually whatever I post on one goes to the other, but I just have a little more, I guess, action, more interaction with other people on Instagram.
Okay.
But reaching out to me wherever, as much as I love in-person physical Reiki sessions, it is not necessary. I have a Zoom link. If you message me, we can do, I've had amazing distance experiences as well. So
I just did. I just had an amazing distance experience. So thank you. We have a couple of other folks that are saying thank you too. Tiffany is saying thank you. Stacy. Tiffany's asking if I can post links for you. So I'll definitely post in the comment section where people can find you. Feel free to comment, share, anything like that. And with that, my friend, I am going to bid you an amazing day. Namaste and thank you for being here.
yeah, thank you for having me. I'm super grateful, and you have a great, beautiful day. And bye to everyone who joined. I'm very
Yes.
grateful.
Our paths will cross again someday, I'm sure of it.
Yes, yes, I follow your page, so I love watching these cosmic conversations. So,
Thank you. Well, sir, I'm gonna drop you in the waiting room, and with that, again, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you for coming and sharing.
you too.
Ooh. Wasn't that amazing? I thought that was just fantastic, and I'll definitely post links for Mr. Ryan. I can't thank everyone enough. Those that are coming to talk and share their magic with us, and those of you who have been showing up and joining us for these cosmic conversations. They are just so very special. Next week on the 21st, I have got my beautiful friend Rada ready, who I just love and adore. She is a brain health coach, amongst a lot of other things, very intuitive soul, sweet woman. Make sure that you mark your calendars and come for that too. Wednesday, free psychic readings as always. And again, thank you for being here with me. All my best. Lots of love for you.